make a movie. This is my Marine Corps Bootcamp book. I was in Platoon 1059. Doesn't have the date on the outside, but look at this. These are stock photos right here. So it is June 21st, 1982. I talked to this guy, along with the other honor men. I became the company honor man, and so there are 4 of us that went up to talk to this guy because there were 4 platoons in my series, and his name was, hadn't looked him up, but for crying out loud, he might be gone. This guy too, never met him. Colonel Gibson. It's down in San Diego. What's interesting is the guy who took this photo, Joe Rosenthal. Let's see if his name's mentioned in here. I don't see it, but we met him when I was stationed at Treasure Island in like 86 to 89. Yep, he was an older guy back then, of course, you know, little beret that I was wearing. Anyway, this is where I stepped on those footprints, but I didn't take a plane, I took a bus. So I was down in LA, that area. This is what you do. You get your clothing, like, give you haircuts. Look at that. You get a box to put your clothes in, and I had a green comb because I had long hair. Look all weird. You get your hair all cut and it's scalp split. This is where you get to be a pin cushion. This is where they give you all your checkups. What's this? Rifle issue. Holy smoke. Stock photos still. The barracks. We had a receiving barracks. Receiving barracks, our guy's Melatown Bond, he didn't have a smoky because he got in trouble. He was wearing the thing called piss cutter. That's where we lived. This is the front of the classroom. It's the classroom, they called it, and the opposite side, they call it the quarterdeck. These pictures just, they don't show the nonsense that we went through to and from wherever, going to the pit. Oh, this is the big pit. But anyway, this is the obstacle course that we're going, that we'd go through. And at the time, we were wearing white t-shirts and red shorts. I don't know, yeah, boots and, yeah, I don't know. Oh, they're doing pugil sticks, I think. Yeah, something, I don't know. There we go. See, we got those shirts, and actually, their platoon numbers like really small, but we spray painted them. Oh, I wish I still had that red shirt. Oh, and then you get to exchange. They give you this book of, they call them chits, C-H-I-T-S. Okay. This guy's not mad at all. When I was in the receiving barracks, I'll tell the story when I get to the pages. Now these are just obstacle courses, just no biggie. Close combat. Guard duty. They call that fire watch. You walk around the barracks with your weapon but no rounds. Or not even that. I don't believe we did that. I think it was just a flashlight. I don't recall. See, there you go. See how big that spray painted number is? We do that. I think we got this stuff. It says chow. Yeah. That's what they call the chow hall. And see these guys? No. That doesn't take place. Typically. But then again, you know, the drill instructors lock you on. That's what they call it. Stop your jaw jacket. Rifle PT, physical training. And combat. I don't remember doing throws. We didn't do any throws. Did pugil sticks. And this is the rifle range. Shot expert. You gotta be 225 to 250. I don't know. I got got my range book, but it was close to maybe it was like 240. I don't know. I don't think I dropped that many points. Shots. These are the A1s. That's A2 because look at the flash suppressor. A1s had the ones that they would open the C ration boxes with, you know, the wire, break the wire. Yeah. Fam firing. This is the guide. This is what I was. I wore this and it said 1059. Oh my goodness, the gas chamber. You go in there, you're supposed to take your mask off and then clear it. But before clearing it, they have you say your social security number, something like that. I don't know. And then you clear it, you blow out, you know, after you fix it to your face. And I didn't do that right. And I inhaled that stuff, man. And it was burning, and I was wanting to exit that. It's a Quonset, you know, those buildings like that. Anyway, I was the guide once again, and one of the drill instructors there said, "Get back over there, guide." So I had to suck it up, and it was, I don't know, come out snot all in your nose. Let's see. I know that they have one of those photos. Snot. Where is it? Yeah, that's. Oh, I get a story. That's actually a safety violator on the ranch. See, this is expert. They call it the cross rifles. It's a toilet seat and sharpshooter. I don't know. That was. They didn't have a name that I was aware of for that. But anyway, these are the butts. This is where the targets are at. And see, the butts down here. The person is standing. This is they call this the lollipop. And so this guy here. It's not a 5. This is a 5 or bullseye, what have you. I think it's 4, something like that. But anyway, he got this. That's the reason why it's red. On the other hand, if you shoot a bull, on the other side it's white. And so after you hit a bull, and I was hitting bulls all day long, I think these things were bigger, and so the guy pulled the target down, put one of these things in a larger one, and then he put this stick up where it was white. And what I did is, like, when he had this lollipop, because he's holding it with his hands down here, I fired through that thing while he was holding it up. Anyway, I was called up. It was like the last shot of the day, and called me a safety violator. And afterwards, I talked to I didn't get in trouble. I talked to my senior drill instructor, and at this time, when I was at the range, I was the third squad leader, and so we're sitting down talking, and he told me that he was going to make me his guide during third phase when we go from Edson Range, which is like Oceanside, to back to the recruit, Marine Corps recruit depot over there in San Diego, right next to the airport. So this is like we went out to the field training. That was interesting. You go out at night and you trip wires and things like that, flares, and you had flash suppressors put on, safety things and blanks. And you had to go up a mountain called a hill, whatever they call a mountain, motherfucker. And that's an interesting story too. So we went back from the range, back to here, I believe. Did we stay out there? I don't know, 2 separate trips. Most likely we went to the range, and at the same time we did this field training thing. And we must have gone back to San Diego, because he did promote me to guide, and then we went to back, because I was the guide then. So we were going up this mountain motherfucker. So imagine, I don't see any, or doing backpack, or the Alice packs that we wear, but I had some breathing issues when I was out there at the field. And I'll show you this picture. And it's drill instructor Sergeant Dodge. His big old long legs. I was up in the front of the platoon with him, with this 70-pound pack, a M16, and this stick, the guide-on stick. That's a piss cutter. The guide-on sticks, and there's some. Are those Quonset heads? No, those are just little Quonset head things. But this is stuff that we did. But anyway, we had to go up this mountain motherfucker with all this weight, and I had bronchitis, and it was hard for me to breathe. And drill instructor Sergeant Dodge, and he just was wanting to go. And anyway, he took that. He goes, "Give me that stick, guide." And so I was like right here when he did that, and maybe the top is right here. And that stick, he goes, "I'm gonna drop this stick, and if it hits the ground before you catch it," and he didn't say the ground, "before it hits the deck, you're no longer guide." And so I was here, and this other fellow recruit was up here, and then all of a sudden he drops it, and he gets it, and boom, hands it right back to me, and he goes, "Here you go, guide." Okay. Of course, I remain guide. Assault course. They're pugil sticks. That's the guide-on stick that I carried. Mine said 1059. I do have some photos that aren't on this of me holding the stick, standing with my senior drill instructor. Smokers, I never did that, dang it. But I excelled at everything else. This stuff right here, this is you would pivot your body, go do. So you'd have to crawl up one side, and then, you go towards the other, and then when you're coming down, there's a technique, and I don't don't think everybody employed it, but I think I did. Yeah, we did all this stuff. Yeah, this was me. Had my own rack in front of the squad bay. And this right here, holding classes. Teach and present arms. Present arms. So anyway. Rifle drill, is that what they call this? That's rifle drill. And that's drill instruction. And that's why he's called the drill instructor. We had camo. These were the older camis. Short for camouflage. DI time. I don't know why they call it DI time. These are your foot lockers. And here are your racks. It's a hospital fold. We had plenty of white tornadoes when we first got there. The drill instructor would say, after we learn how to do this, we're saying with one bottom sheet, you get 3 or 2 sheets, this 2 blankets, this one here, and there's one up on your, that goes over your pillow. And so anyway, they'd say with one bottom sheet, get in the classroom. So, I mean, you think about that. All right, you just spent time putting this thing together. It means that you gotta, they call it the white tornado. We're gonna have a white tornado. This is one of the games that we play. They would, yep, and tell you, okay, man, after we do that we had to make them, boom, we do this, and they're like, okay, with one top sheet. Where's the top sheet? Well, it's under here. It means you're gonna have to mess up your rack again, right? Or they'd say, okay, after with one pillow, and then ultimately, I don't know how many iterations that we did of that, but so this DI time is like, okay, so he's, we're cleaning our weapons, So this guy here, his boots are bloused, so they're no longer in first phase. I think first phase, you got to wear these things unbloused. That means they're not like this. They're not. They give you little rubber band things that put your boot blouse and things, and then you roll it. Your they call them trousers. You don't call them pants, right? This is squad day, a rack, the deck. The ceiling's called the overhang. That's another rack, but the wall. Let's see here. The wall would be the bulkhead. This is the head. The showers are called the rain room. This is the guide. Now, before I was guide, that's a third squad leader, and that was an interesting story how that happened. But anyway, I was third squad leader. I was in charge of cleaning the head, so I had people who, fellow recruits that would say, "Hey, boom, boom." But before, let me see here. Let's continue on here. Oh, swim qual. I was never taught how to swim, and part of being the guide, they were wanting to make me, WSQ, with water safety qualification, something like that. But so these guys, we had to do it in our camis ultimately, I believe. I don't recall doing it exclusively this way, but you had to get all the strokes down correctly, and you had to wade water with this is probably for, regular swim qualification, but then as you WSQ, you had to, swim the pack and weapon and everything like that, and it just, I couldn't do it. It didn't go beyond second class, but that's okay. This is where we graduated. Now, I've got pictures of me being on the stage holding my, since I was the regimental honor man. No, not regimental, I was the company honor man. So I was the honor man of my platoon. Then there were 2 platoons in my series, and so I was the series honor man, and we had to go in front of a board, me and this guy. And then that happened over here too, and so this guy, and so anyway, it ended up that me and this guy over here went up in the company. So it's the platoon honorman, the series, and the company. Are there 4 platoons or more? I don't know. They're like up to 600 recruits, so I might have gotten that wrong. So it's like there got to be like more than, let me see, 4 and 4. So 8 platoons. 8 platoons. So you had 4 honor men and 1 series and 4 honor men. And so that's what make it, yeah. So you had, that's why it's close to 600. It wouldn't make sense because our platoons were like 70 recruits. Anyway, graduated number 1, going in open contract. Had to go in open contract, meaning that couldn't get, credit for the school that I went to. I was going to college, had a semester, graduated midterm high school, I got in a little trouble, things like that, so I had to get a waiver to get in, and because of that waiver, they said, hey, even though you had a semester of college, I could have been a private first class in E2 getting out of the Marine Corps, but that wasn't happening, and my scores were decent on the ASVAB, and I could have gotten whatever, a good number of the positions that you could have gotten. But anyway, because of this waiver, I had to go. I couldn't have an MOS, so I went in, knowing that it could be a ground pounder, an infantryman, and being a recon ranger, I think that's what I was wanting to do, and they came back and they said, hey, you're going to be an administrator. And I'm like, an administrator? But because I graduated number 1, got to talk to the general. I could have picked any MOS after that, whatever I qualified for, I could have gotten because I was the honor man. So I was able to, get promoted to PSC upon graduation, and I don't show it here, but the dress blue uniform. But once again, they're not wearing their jackets. All right, so we have this story. One in receiving, but this isn't receiving, I don't believe. It could be receiving, but ours had that piss cutter on. Anyway, the guide, this guy who was guide before I replaced him, he was actually a 26-year-old, I was like 18, something like that, and then, I don't know, they fired him, they promoted me, but before that, in the beginning, it was this one guy, and he's like, go report yourself to the drill instructor. And there's a way of doing that, right? There's a way of doing it. So this thing is called the duty hut, where this drill instructor is sitting, right? It's called this Smoky, I guess. This cover, he looks like he's a gunnery sergeant. 3 up and 2 down. He's gunny. So there's the process, and so outside of his duty hut, it's the hatch. They call it the hatch. It's the doorway, and the doorway on outside of the hatch, you gotta knock 3 times, boom, 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 and then you got to request to talk to this guy. So, you just get there, and you don't know how to do this, although they tell you that, how to do it. You know, so anyway, this guy was messing with me. This guide, go report yourself to the drill instructor. So I do, and I just walk right in. And this guy, so I should have went knock, 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 and then after his acknowledgement, he'd say, speak. And then I'd say, or any other recruit would say, sir, you know, Private Tchaikovsky requests to speak to Sergeant, Drill Instructor Sergeant Malatambon. Right? That's a mouthful, you know? It's like how you put it all together. So I just walked in, and this guy here, Malatambon, he wasn't a gunny, but he was a sergeant. He only had 3 stripes. But he was from, he was from one of the islands, one of the Pacific Islands. And anyway, he started yelling, and he stood at attention. And then he was shorter than I was, but he was yelling in my ears. Yelling. He took turns. He went to this ear and that ear. But before he did that, he was working with these stack of papers, and he picked them up, and he'd throw them at me, man. He was very upset. He made his point. Fireman's carry. I think I remember doing this. Okay, so we're getting close to everyone in my platoon. The PFT. 20 pull-ups at the time, 80 sit-ups, a 3-mile run. You get 300. I don't know, I got like 284, I think. Can never get, I think the fastest I ran was, how about this? 2020. You could kip. I never did them underhanded. I always did them overhanded. Like this guy. He's a drill instructor. I don't remember doing the water thing. Oh, Visitors Day. My parents came out to see me. Of course, this is a long time ago. There's a reason why they look like that. The styles are different. Look at her purple jacket. It's not cold enough for her to be wearing hers, so. Let's see here. Yeah, at that time, my parents were like really, my dad and my stepmom, they were smokers. They wanted to go to the PX, and so they could buy lots of cigarettes. Huh. There we go, fireman's carry again. So, Prax, yeah, they gave you this book. I don't know if I have it anymore. It's a thing that they call it your prac. Study your prac. This is where you rappel down this thing. For some reason, I don't recall. I remember going to Korea and doing that. That's in that book. Graduation day. So graduation day, so I'm over here working at the Navy base. There's a guy told me that he marched in my graduation parade. Oh, this is the final inspection. Yep. See, here he is. This here. What do we got? Yep. This was me. But I think this was all the brass and everything, but that was the uniform that I was wearing. Once I find the photo, I'll go ahead and post that of me, but this was the stage that I was on. So this guy here is don't want to mention this, what he went by on the base, but he was a big wig, and he's like, I remember marching in your parade. Because whenever our company was graduating, we marched, and like my platoon marched in other preceding series, what have you. I was in boot camp from 21 June 82 to 17 September of 82. It's 3 months, 3 phases. This is the parade deck. And then you can see here, it's for General Daly. He's here reviewing. This is a pass and review. So as you're walking here, pass and review. And so anyway, and that's when everybody looks that way. They salute the general, and the general will be saluting too. If there was a 4-star general, they'd have to put his flag up. So right now he's the top dog, General Daly. Major General Daly. Graduation. I remember that. See, this is me. So I envision, after looking at one of these books in the recruiter's office. Oh, that's another awesome story. I'm like, I wanted to be a squad leader because one of my uncles, he was a squad leader when he was in the Air Force. And so I'm like, okay, I want to be squad leader. Did that. The story behind that was I was walking behind the third squad leader, and then one day we're stopped. Turned around, he goes, you want to be third squad leader? I'm like, yeah. So anyway, we did that without the drill instructor's permission, and boop, I was in charge. And so was that, and then ultimately became the guide. And this is what I wanted to become. So I became the guide. I wanted this uniform. So I got the uniform, and then lastly, I got the promotion to PFC. So I got them all. So that's what this guy is right here. And I can't see his back. It looks like he's an expert. So not that I wanted to become expert. I never fired the weapon, but I was able to get expert notwithstanding. But I was able to get everything that I had envisioned prior to going to boot camp. So I loved it, but I was stupid because it was like kindergarten. The games that they would play. Look at those old buses. See, these are all the honor men. So there should be 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So I was number 1 out of all these guys, and each one of these guys represents 70 or more recruits for a platoon, platoon of 4 squads. So they get their C bag. C bag. Oh, here he is. Here he is. 10:59. So, I see what happened. See, I told you, right? 17 September. So we got there 21 June. So 21 June to this time. Prior to that, that's when we're in that holding platoon, whatever. But anyway, I believe I got to talk to this guy too, notwithstanding, talking to the general, Lieutenant Colonel Slater. There's a letter from him to me congratulating me on being the company honor man, or maybe it even said like the regimental one, but battalion. So it must have been the company honorman, because he's not the regimental commander, he's the battalion. The regiment is hard. So, anyway, let's see. This is the captain, Captain Nicholas, that I went with the other series honorman. It was between me and the other guy, and we talked to him, and he selected me as his company honorman. And yep. Let's see here. See, A company or Alpha company. CO, commanding officer. Never talked to him. I think I may have spoken to him once or twice. First Lieutenant Isaacs. Now, see, they messed that up. It's the company first sergeant, right? First Sergeant Isaacs, I don't remember, but they called him First Lieutenant. That's not true. So it's the First Sergeant Isaacs. I wonder what he looks like. But Lieutenant Holiday, he rode me a couple times, and it's like, it's acceptable. Not that I was calling them sirs, but, when you salute to, a gaggle of officers, you typically say, "Good morning, gentlemen," so you don't exclude. But I was new at the time, so I saluted to say, "Good morning, sir." I didn't say sirs, but he corrected me for that. He goes, recruit, private, it's, it may have been gentleman or something like that, but like, you could tell how he was. This guy, he had a hair problem, or not a problem, but he didn't have any hair. So no eyebrows or anything like that. I later, after getting out of the Marines, he was a first lieutenant here, but he became this guy. He was the head of the battalion several years later. So anyway, so when I was here. Says Platoon Series and Blues Award. The dress blue. But my senior drill instructor and Gunny Kegler, awesome. They're both African American. Senior drill instructor. I contacted his son because I wanted to reach out, and he remembered me, and it's like I reached out. We corresponded after I graduated, maybe even when I got out of the Marine Corps. There are seriously like your dad when you go there. They're the cool ones, and then these guys here, like this guy, Sergeant Dodge. He's like 6'4", this guy right here. Oh my goodness, man. You never wanted to piss him off. He's the one that dropped the stick and said the guide-on stick, if I didn't catch it before it fell, I stepped on his shoe one day. Going on the chow hall, and I looked up and he just scowled at me, but he was awesome. I ran into him in Okinawa when I was stationed over there in Okinawa. But, so, second phase, as you call it, was telling a story. I was at the range, and I was a safety pilot. But when I was talking to the gun, my senior drill instructor, gunnery sergeant, Askew, when he told me that I was going to be the guide of, 1059. But there was another time after that, after he promoted me to that, where he refers to it after he selected me as the company honorman. So it was like a Sunday, and typically I think Sundays we did our laundry. We had to go out and we did it by hand, right? And so anyway, where I was walking down, it's not the hallway. They don't call it the hallway. They call it the passageway. So I was going down the passageway, And my senior drill instructor, he stopped me and engaged with me. And it's not typically something that they do, but because I was the guide, I was, the leader of his platoon. He told me I was going to be, it doesn't say here the company honor man, but I have the letter from him saying that in my record book. Anyway, that was in the beginning of third phase where he said I was going to be the company honor man. So after I talked to him, I was selected Gunny Amata. We never got, he was the company gunny. Or he was this, actually he was the series chief DI. Pretty awesome. Cool guy. He comes out after talking to him. I'm waiting at attention outside his office, and I guess his office is out there as well. He stands in front of me to give me notification that the board was completed, and he asked me, do I believe everything that my senior drill instructor tells me? I said, sir, yes sir. He shook my hand, and he said, congratulations, you're the company honor man. Oh my goodness, man, it's like, he told me that I was going to be the guide, which it happened. And then he told me that I was going to be the company honor man. And it happened. And so they must have conferred. I don't know. It's like they knew that who they wanted. All right. Here's some of my fellow recruits. He was the first guide, the Army guide. He was the guide that I replaced. So there were three guides, him, and me. Cool people, man. Remember everybody. I went to admin school with him, and I never dipped before. I just started dipping, I don't know, after I got out of the Marine Corps. It was 20 years. But he gave me a dip, and it was like, oh my God. I remember all these guys. He later became an officer, and I was stationed with him. He became a butter bar over there, and he was the nicest guy. This was Cricket. This guy here, he was my bunkie. I was at the bottom and he was on the top. But when I became the guide, I had my own rack. And then the scuttlebutt is the thing the drinking faucet. And it was outside the drill instructor's duty hut. And he wanted to get me into trouble the next day because the previous night I was thirsty, and I'm like, I'm not gonna go to the head and lap the water up from the faucet like that's what we're supposed to do, right? And anyway, there's another story before we're going from here to I think the field training. We're vacating the barracks, and this one lieutenant from another I don't know where he's from, but anyway, he's walking through the squad bay, and he saw the recruits drinking out of the water faucet. The sink's in the head, And he goes, recruits, why are you doing that? And they said, hey, because our drill instructor said so. He goes, that's not sanitary. Drink from the scuttlebutt. Or the water faucet. And I don't think he was a drill instructor in, that part of the depot over there, because he called it, I think, the water fountain. Anyway, then drill instructor Sergeant Dodge. This guy, he taught us the term, what disloyal dog was all about. He saw I wasn't drinking from the faucet, but there was a line. And then he saw the recruits drinking out of the faucet, and he questioned, what are you doing? Sir, Lieutenant said to drink out of the scuttlebutt, sir. And the faucets in the bathroom aren't sanitary. He goes, you disloyal dog, stop you, or whatever. Never forgot that term, very applicable. And that's going to sound gross, but there was one of these inspections that we're having, and they do, they look at your fingernails and they look in your ears. I mean, you get a lot of dirt, but I had this blackhead in my ear. He got it out with a government-issued pen. Oh my. There are two drill instructors that aren't here. Sergeant Calise, he was my first senior drill instructor. He got accepted to the warrant officer program, and so that's why he was replaced by senior drill instructor Gunnery Sergeant Askew and Sergeant Rector. Those two, Sergeant Rector, they all seem to, I had it. I was surfing the wave. I made it happen. But they're all cool with me. And Gunnery Sergeant Kegler, they all, had their time. He was never, I think he later became a warrant officer too. Staff Sergeant Strand. There were three drill instructors. Him, drill instructor Sergeant Rector, drill instructor, senior drill instructor Sergeant Calise. He had the continuity. The Medney guy. He was integral. And he was an HVAC guy in the Marine Corps. I tried to later become a drill instructor. I said, no, we can make you a recruiter. I'm like, forget that. Back to this story over here. So the next day, he tries to knock me out to drill instructor Sergeant Dodge. All right, so he wanted to talk to drill instructor Sergeant Dodge. So he's like, sir, Private Johnson? No. Smith requests to speak to Drill Instructor Sergeant Dodge, sir. Drill Instructor Sergeant Dodge says, speak. Sir, the guy last night drank out of the scuttlebutt. And he goes, go away. Yep. True story. He was a warm-hearted guy. He was overweight. He was one of the overweight guys, but he lost lots of weight. And where's the guy that I went to junior high school? They allowed us to go to boot camp at the same time. Start to shake it up. Oh, it's R. lent him some money in Hawaii to get a car, and he took forever to pay me back. But when we were kids, we would ride our bicycles from Azusa to San Dimas. He liked McDonald's, so we went to McDonald's. Sakimoto, he's an interesting guy because we go on our platoon runs, and the Navy was next door. But anyway, he would lose his bowels during the run. There was one time you'd see this, thing in his shorts, or his shorts were wet because he, but anyway. Smith. We one time we were on a run he was the second squad leader. I liked him. I liked him. He after we got done running, again we had those white t-shirts and red shorts. He spit, and of course we're in the front of the platoon. Drill instructor Sergeant Dodd sees him doing that, and then he tells Neesmith to pick it up. Pick it up. So he picks it up, and then drill instructor Sergeant Dodd says, "Wipe it on yourself." It's the funniest thing, man. Who else could have? That was humorous, man. And where's M? If you guys look at this stuff, just know it's all good. Mask this. Mask. He was tall, and the human body has a thing called a mastoid. I don't know, mastoid process, something like that. But drill instructor Sergeant Dodge would call him mastoid. But then I tried calling him mastoid, and he told me not to stop it. Let's see if there are any other stories in here. Oh, I had an opportunity to promote somebody to PFC. This guy here had the high PFT score. Felix actually lost a lot of weight, and so I had him promoted out of the loyalty of him being my friend. My first political act. He wanted PFC bad. Sorry, bro. These guys were cool. Everybody was cool. I don't think anybody did their things. I think Simmons was the oldest guy. Where's Simmons? This guy. He had the mannerisms of a man, and we're all wanting to become men, but I think that he gave me some guff sometime. And then there was a guy, what was his name? Oh, Liberatore. Yeah, we're at the range, and this guy didn't shave. And we had to have him dry shave for this inspection that we had. These are fake glasses. See, there's no glasses in them. More. Yep. Look at these. Both had the same initials. White. They both had unique personalities, and they're both funny in their own right. Oh, this guy could get Seminic. just got this thinking of it. This has been, since 82, and I remember these guys' names. Remember every single one of them. You shared everything with these guys. Sergeant Rector. Drill Instructor Sergeant Rector. It's my stick. Drill Instructor Sergeant Judge had his mustache. See how tall this guy was? When I stepped on his shoe in the chow hall? Come on, forget about it. He got in trouble for, he was in a devil dog program. See, that's when Cricket was the guide. First phase, look at his cover. But he got in trouble by stealing donuts, and that's taking donuts out of the chow hall, put them in his foot locker. Major crime. I think you could see me in here somewhere before I was, no. There I am after I put myself in the position of being third squad leader. The drill instructors, him, would tie up our rag, they called it, when we're disgraced, you know. They'd act that role. He had to be an actor, a drill instructor. He marches right into a building, and then he'd go, platoon, halt. But this is before I was up front. And then we did this accordion effect, and he called us disloyal dogs because we weren't trusting in him. I think you could see me in one of these. Close-hand combat. Oops, there he is, right there. And then one of these two, that's our PFT. Head and eyeball straight forward. Look at that. Look at all these guys. Boop! I try to stick out. And who is it? This Michael Chandler, UFC fighter. We were watching something on him yesterday. And he goes, I say yes as much as possible, leads to most opportunities. And basically, that's what I'm doing here. Following instructions. Because I was such a good recruit. I'm out here somewhere. I don't think I ever identified. He enjoyed this. He's a PMI, primary marksman instructor, something. Yeah. It's always with this stick. Nobody else. I don't know if I'm in here somewhere. Neesmith. Mastis. I remember them more often than the others. Here's a nerd. Here's a jock. Oh, here's the pugil sticks. I did pretty good at this. There I am. They had me out. My jacket was getting fitted. That's me. So, he was the first squad leader. I don't remember him all that much. Neesmith. I don't know who replaced me as the third squad leader. But this is me standing out in the front. There's one hand. Oops. And then this is it. There's pole day. Story. He's a big one. Oh, there's Felix. It's parade rest. Parade rest. They're holding a weapon. Didn't have the weapon. Parade rest with both hands behind your back. Well, I guess that would conclude this video. Maybe somebody from 10:59 or that time period will see it after I post this video to YouTube. There's the airport. You always hear the airport, the jets. And we're standing out, around here somewhere in the classroom.